Okay, we got the door to slam, and that's good. So there's the car ramp right there. And then just going on back, there's all kinds of beams running all which ways. But we're getting real close. We're getting real close. Probably sometime this next week we're going to start throwing boards on top of this, and that'll be exciting. Well, last night about 1 o'clock in the morning, the clouds rolled in. I didn't see the clouds roll in, of course, but then it started raining. So I run up here and scramble around and bring a bunch of stuff in that I think is going to get wet and be ruined by the rain. And so, you know, it's a little more congested in here, and it's still pretty cloudy out. This is mid-July, so I don't get it. Global warming. So yesterday we went in and put cross pieces in between our beams so that we can run the piping back and forth and gets it up off the ground. That came out pretty good. And right now what I'm doing is I'm taking some tar paper and I'm cutting a bunch of small pieces of tar paper to put in between each, and I don't know if you can see from there, but to put in between the post and the concrete, because there's a little bit of moisture that'll come up through the concrete depending on what's going on, and we want to have just a slight moisture barrier there. So that's going to happen, and you know, hey, hang in there with me. Okay, Nick Collier here, and as you can see, we're pretty well buttoned up as far as the foundation part of this deck is concerned. We've got the beams in, and we've got these little cross pieces here, and the PEX pipe is showing up tomorrow, we hope, keep fingers crossed. And then once that's here, then and I ordered 500 feet, literally this part of the shop is going to take 300 feet because I want to go back and forth a couple of times inside of each one of these things. And so this PEX pipe, I'm going to show you some of it because it's pretty cool stuff. It's like PVC, it looks like PVC, but here, check this out. Whoa, that stuff bends and it doesn't kink. So that's pretty cool stuff. And the PEX guys have it figured that it'll bend to an 8-inch radius, which is about right there, and not kink. You know, even once heat's applied to it, it won't kink. So we'll be able to go down one end, turn around, come back the other end, turn around, come back the other end, turn around, come back the other end. I'm hoping for 4, but I may only do 3 passes in each one of these segments. So the flooring right here is all of this material down here. We just kind of put it over there just to keep it, in a sense, stored. All of that material goes behind us in the first part of the floor, and that's all 10-footers, 10 and 12-footers, and that kind of goes this way, bloop, 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 and then I come in with 12, I believe 12s for this part here, and then we jump over to that part right over there, which is going to have literally the wood is going to go this way, the flooring is going to go that way, and then I think in the carport part, or the carport, you know, the car area, I'm going to go back and forth, little small pieces. It'll make it stronger and it'll be a lot easier to deal with. So that said, I think we're pretty well ready to go here. All we have to do is get that pipe, and we're ready to install it and get the floor in. Then get all the tools back in where they belong. Hi, Nicole, you're here, and today, or about an hour ago, the PEX tubing showed up in a monster box. We got 500 feet of this material, and it's all in one roll. So I'm not really sure how I'm going to unroll this. I might actually have to build some kind of rotating holder for it so that once I open the box it doesn't go like a big spring. But it came with, or it didn't come with, but I've also bought some attachments, accessories that go with it, which is really cool. Because I'm thinking, you know, how is this pipe, you know, it's very flexible, it bends very flexible, but it also has a little bit of a spring tension to it. So how do you get this to kind of stay in place? Well, of course those guys figured it out. You buy one of these little plastic clips, and then you bend it, and it pops into the clip and stays where it's supposed to stay, which is, oh. And I says, well, how much are they? You know, because of course some like new little cool gadget thing. He says $1.25 each, and I'm like, oh, yeah, give me a bunch of them. So I don't know, I got about 20 or 30 of them, and we'll set this up so that it all kind of makes its bends and does what we want it to do, and that's going to be pretty cool. The junction points are little brass clips, which is great because that holds up to corrosion. And then we've got the little clips that are going to hold it down on the piece of wood, which is kind of a nice, cool little thing too. You run a screw right down to the center onto the piece of wood, and then this thing just kind of clips in place, and your pipe stays where it wants to stay. Now, I think the next thing I have to do is go ahead and lay this box down, kind of open it carefully, and see how this thing is packaged and how it's going to spring apart once I pop the straps that are holding it in place. So if you hang in there with me, and it might be, I'll fast forward this part, I'm sure, and it could be very comedic. Well, this is very cool because the pipe has actually relaxed into this really tight coil, and so it's not going to go springing out like I thought it might. And so this is going to be easier to handle than I thought, at least as far as I can tell so far. Looks like if I just keep unwinding it, it'll pretty much stay together. And I can just start running it down and stringing it out. Okay, it's the next morning. I'm ready to finish up. I finished up installing the pipe in this part here, the PEX pipe, and now, in order to install the pipe on that back section or the front section, I've got to get all that wood that's sitting there and move it over to here, and I may as well put it in place while I'm at it. So what I'm going to do is we're going to take individual photographs every time I put a board in. So you'll see the progression as we get it installed. Okay, we've gotten this far. We're working on 12 footers. Actually, we've just stepped into the 14 footers, which takes the room out a little bit wider. And we've got about another, oh, I don't know, 10, 12, 14 feet to go of the decking. And we've got all of our hot water pipe in. Now basically what we're going to do, tomorrow morning I got to go get some screws for one, and then tomorrow morning we'll come in and finish off this this section here, and probably when I get the screws I'll go ahead and get wood for this back section, and maybe tomorrow we'll have finished off most of the deck. Who knows how much, but you know, everything from this point on hasn't got a whole lot of obstacles to get around. Very exciting. Very exciting. Look at that. Oh man, I am so excited. I'm off the dirt. And that's saying a lot. Well, hey, this is Nick Collier signing out for the day. It's probably about the 10th of July. It was a fairly cool day today, comparatively speaking, 80 degrees or so. And I'm ready to go kick back a little bit and maybe have myself a beer. Nick Collier here, and my wife Barbara. She comes up here once in a while and hangs out with me, which is a lot of fun. And we've gotten, how far did we get here today? Oh, we must have done 6 or 8 of these. And we're starting to have a real deck here. I'm very excited. Plus there's a few more there that you can't see. And we got to buy a half a dozen more pieces of wood because we're going to be short. And we're ready to go. Okay.
Ready to dance on this floor, I'd say.
We're not dancing on this floor.
Oh, I don't know.
Work floor.
Looks like dancing to me.
Okay, well, we've got everything but this one little strip right here in, and I've got to get that piece of wood tomorrow, and then one other little strip right along in there, and now I get that piece of wood tomorrow too. And then there's a couple of pieces, I think 3, possibly 4 pieces of 2x12 that are going to go right into this area here. So far we've got the auto pit, you might say. It's all in place. I cut all the 2x12s and placed them in there, and they're just basically sitting there, and they seem to be very comfortable right there, so I'm not going to really do too much more to them. And then of course there's the entire rest of the building with a level floor, and I am very happy. So now you know, just those couple of pieces, and then we're going to start moving tools back in and building benches and cleaning up the place because it's a disaster in here. Planning on putting a bench right in this area here, just kind of coming out from that bench there, maybe a little bit higher, and coming out about 6 feet or so, just to give me a little more bench area, which I always need. And then of course this disaster over here, clean that up at some point or another, and then get back into doing what I came here to do, which is machine work and welding and other assorted things. It's been a good day. Morning, Nick Collier here, and we've got the deck completely done. We're all set. And in a second I'll swing you around and show you what's going on. It's about 5 o'clock in the morning right now, and I've been up for about half an hour, 45 minutes. I've moved most of these tools back into this corner here. This used to be the little garden corner. In fact, there's some of the garden implements. We're going to build Barbara a garden tool shed out in the garden later on this autumn. And so this is kind of like my little forging and foundry corner, which is kind of going to be kind of cool. We're going to clean up the mess on these decks here sometime very soon. and certainly over in the automotive section. But let's spin around and see what we've got going here. Yesterday I built a bench, and that's going to be, oh, there it is right there. And just kind of adding a little bit to my abilities to have some space to work on. Most of the benches now, I don't know if you can see it here, but most of the benches are a little bit too low because, of course, the floor came up. And so it behooved me to build a little bit higher bench. And, you know, some of the benches are just the right size, like that one up there, right in this area here. That one's a pretty good size. And I think what I'm going to do is just go ahead and clean that bench off and get that benchable. I moved some of the tables back in. So it's kind of starting to become a shop again. And I'm kind of excited about that. I'm ready to, I've got about 3 or 4 projects in line ready to go forward on, and we're going to move ahead. This is Nick Collier, and signing out for now. And I got a floor. I'm excited.